Hi guys, welcome to another lecture. I hope you guys are enjoying the AI engineering playlist, and in case you have any doubts you can free feel to reach me on LinkedIn as well as Instagram. I would individually resolve all doubts. So today we'll be speaking about talking about prompt engineering. This topic was a great buzzword I think few months or 1 year back, but now I think it has settled down. But the idea is that what is prompt engineering and how we as AI developers, data scientists, data analysts can actually leverage it. So let's just try to see the definition first, and then I'm gonna tell you on how and from where you can learn about it and how you can learn it in a way that it helps your development directly. So prompt engineering is the practice of designing and optimizing input prompts to elicit desired outcomes from large language models. It is a crucial technique for enhancing the performance and capabilities of LLMs across various tasks without modifying the underlying parameters. So see guys, whenever you want an LLM to do some task for you, you need to write some prompt. And the way you modify the prompt, the way you customize the prompt, the way you write your input query, so prompt can also be referred to as input query. The way you mention your prompt, the way you write your input queries, all those things really matter a lot. So guys, understand that why we are doing this. Okay, the question is why. No one is going to tell you these things, but this is how your thinking process would develop. Is why do we need prompt engineering? So see, an LLM is trained on a context. So context is not the right word in this sense, but understand that LLM has a mind, okay, of its own. Now, that mind might not be able to classify or perhaps give the right answer every time, right? Because the context changes. So let's say I'm saying that, like for basic instance, let's say you're building a classification system, and for every review you want to classify it as, for every comment that you get you need to classify it as good or bad. Now the thing is, once you want to classify any comment as good or bad, let's take an example of a comment. Let's say the comment is the food was good but the drink was quite expensive. Now this can be a good comment to some organizations, it can be a bad comment to some organizations. Mostly the heavy thing is bad only, right? But the food was good, so that's a good part as well. So everything depends upon the situation. Okay, everything depends upon the business use case, that what should be the outcome of an LLM depends upon business use cases in order to get the desired output from an LLM. Okay, in your case you need to use prompting, and guys I also do a lot of prompting, and in future I believe I guess prompting would be a thing that a lot of people would do on a very large amount. So right now these days whatever projects I also do a lot of prompting in that. So let's just see that. Now the thing is that, okay, but I don't know how to write prompts. Okay, now the question is that I don't know how to write the prompts. Okay, now the thing is, from where you will learn it? You don't need any specific course of prompt engineering. The second thing is, no one can actually tell you how to write a prompt. Everything is, guys, just situational. Okay, everything is just based on some research which is not like a groundbreaking research. Okay, these type of researchers are more like doing stuff and analyzing stuff. So something that might have worked in their case is not necessarily going to be working in your case, right? And maybe you would design a new prompting technique of your own. So that's how it goes. So what is the motivation of today's lecture, and from where you also need to see it? So I have attached a research paper link. Okay, I guess there is some issue in opening the PDF, but yeah, it's just because of the Chrome extension link I had attached. Yeah, we can just remove this. So the thing is that this is one research paper that was published in 2024, 5th of Feb. So guys, see, obviously this research paper won't stay static. Things would change. Maybe next year you would have more prompting techniques. So this research paper seem to have like collated good amount of prompting techniques. Now obviously we can't go through each one of them, right? It doesn't make sense also to go through each one of them. There are so many prompting techniques, but I'll tell you the ones that I use, the ones which actually you need to know, and this would serve as a resource of, hey, this is this project, maybe we can try out different stuff. And it's all about experimenting, guys. This is not science. Okay, this is experimentation, this is research. So the first type of prompting which people talk about is zero shot prompting. Okay, so now what is zero shot prompting? So you can obviously go through the research paper and all. Now if you go to this important resource link that I have attached, this is very important. Okay, now this will help you collate and help you understand about prompts in a fashion that it's going to give you examples as well. Okay, so now let's talk about zero shot. So see, zero shot is just like once you give your model directly thing. Directly thing is just like asking it to directly do something. Okay, meanwhile I'll also try to open Claude, or we can also open Gemini. So right now let's just use Gemini. So class, if I'm asking it classify it as positive or negative. I loved the food. So probably I guess the traffic is was large, so it took this much amount. But yeah, see, the output is positive. This is known as zero shot prompting, that you haven't given it any examples to learn. Now the thing is, the second type of prompting is few shot prompting. Now few shot prompting is where you give it some examples. Okay, for instance, let me tell you an example of, I think this is complicated example, I'll make my one right away. So in few shot prompting, what you do is you tend to give it some examples. Now few shot prompting would be the technique that would be used a lot. Okay, so let's just see how will I write the prompt. Okay, act as a classifier system, always give outcome as positive or negative. I loved the food, but the sitting was not great. Examples: input, output, negative, input, I love the juice, but pricing was too high. Output negative. Based on the information provided, classify this. Classify this. I loved the curry, but breads were hard. Now guys, see, this is known as few shot prompting, where you have essentially given the model few examples also so that it has more context. Okay, so this is, the model is learning in a way, but the learning is not happening by changing any parameters of the model. Okay, so if you would give the system few examples according to your use case, then it might understand your use case as well. Okay, so this is what is the thing that you need to understand. In your context, the situation would be different, industry would be different, demand would be different, output pattern would be different. So all those things are also very important. Now since I have used something known as output pattern, let's just talk about this as well a bit. See guys, getting the output in a desired fashion is also very important. Why? Because if the output that you are rendering is not in a desired fashion, you won't be able to do any ad hoc analysis. Okay, because for ad hoc analysis you need to write some code. Now that code would be written in a way that it understands the context. So that's the case. Also guys, I'll show you how dynamically you can render the code, or how you can dynamically tweak the code based on the output. All these things would come later, but you understand. So I've understood zero shot prompting and few shot prompting. Now the other thing is chain of thought prompting. So this example is very nice. Let's just stick to this example only. Now the query is, Roger has 5 balls, he buys 2 more cans of tennis balls, each can has 3 balls. Okay, so this becomes 6 balls. How many tennis balls does Roger have? Okay, now the model is giving the answer it as 11. So probably I guess it's correct only. There is no issue in this answer, it's correct. Now the cafeteria had 23 apples. If they use 20 apples to make lunch, so 3 remain, and they brought 6 more. So essentially 9 should be the answer. How many apples do they have? Now the model is giving it as 27. Now let's say you use chain of thought prompting. You are forcing the model to think in a particular way. See, in the model input, you are basically giving an use case which is forcing the model to think in a particular way. Roger started with five balls, 2 cans of 3 balls. Each is 6 tennis balls. 5 plus 6 is 11. Here, so you're explaining that how did we reach at the answer 11, and then it was able to essentially answer this as well. So it was able to break down the problem into smaller thoughts and eventually reach out to the correct solution. So see guys, see, I'll tell you. This example must be clear, but let me explain you the thought process behind it. So guys, let's say you have given a task. Now one way of doing is, the task is that you start building it up from scratch and you finish it. But the problem in that case is that you usually don't know that how can we reach to a particular solution. What are the road blockers? What are the situational changes we face in accomplishing a task? But the motivation for LLMs is that, hey, I have a big task. Can I break it down into smaller parts? If I'm breaking down into smaller parts and accomplishing those goals, and then parsing my information in a way that the next step can work as an individual function, and then I can just parse information and reach to the desired goal. So something like this is very important. So we talked about chain of thought prompting as well, guys. This is also very much used I also use this a lot. This is the most used prompting which I use, because you need to force the model to think in a particular way. Now the next thing is self consistency. So again guys, see, if you would read about self consistency as well, it is sort of chain of thought prompting only, right? It's just the fact that you need to give it some examples which understand your context. That's it. So the crux of prompt engineering is that whatever application you are building, write prompt in any fashion, it doesn't matter. The only thing that you need to understand is that, can we be in a situation where we are giving the model some examples, maybe 5 6 examples, so that my model can actually learn the business use case, can learn the context very well. Now there is something known as general knowledge prompting as well. So guys, see, this is the same thing, the same, they must have given some examples. So they are asking, part of golf is trying to get a higher, part of golf is trying to get a higher point total than others, yes or no? So the model is outputting yes. Now they have made it clear that the way you need to think, the way you need to analyze, the way you need to think about answering, and then it is able to give uh, the correct answer. So that's it, that's the entire thing. Okay, there is tree of thoughts as well. So tree of thoughts also got popularized very well. So I'll explain you tree of thoughts with a possible example. But the main thing which I explained you over here is consistent only. So see guys, the main thing is that you have a situation. Let's say the situation is you want to apply for a leave. Now the thing is, you need to apply for a leave and you want an LLM to do that for you. Okay, so now how will an LLM do it? What an LLM is going to essentially do is that it's going to generate multiple outcomes. You would ask an LLM to basically generate, let's say you're asking it to generate 3 outcomes. Okay, you are asking it to generate 3 outcomes on how do I approach a leave. So one is, he's saying that mail your manager. Second, he is saying go directly talk to your manager. Third, he is saying on the day you want to take a leave, just apply for a sick leave directly. Okay, so there were 3 options which the model had prompted, right? These were 3 approaches. Now you pass it to another model and you ask it to just say rate these approaches on the basis of success and probability, success and failure. So it's going to rate these approaches to success and failure, and based on that approach you ask another model to actually classify that what should be the final approach. So see guys, this is tree of thoughts, right? You're creating a tree of thought. So whenever a human tries to solve a task, I told you guys, it's all about the thought process. This is not something that is very scientific tree of thoughts or anything of that. It's just the main thing is that few people did some research with a particular style of writing and they got good results. So we should also get inspired by that. But the main thing, the main crux is that you need to know, because there are so many prompting techniques, right? I cannot like teach you all, and there might be some prompting techniques which like are not even mentioned in this research paper or this prompt engineering guide. I'll explain you now only on how to find those techniques as well. So yeah, these they mainly the main crux is that we talked about zero shot, few shot, chain of thought, self consistency, general knowledge, tree of thoughts. The main thing is which you need to understand is that I have an LLM. I wanted to make it behave in a particular way so that it yields good results for my particular use case. So what would be the most efficient examples that will help my LLM understand my use case better, and it's going to give the answers better. So now guys, I'll tell you one way of how do I approach prompting a bit. So let's say I have been proposed with the task of multi-class classification. Okay, so this is the main thing on how to think. Okay, the main objective of this course is not efficiently teaching you prompting, right? Because prompting now I have taught you and you would understand. Okay, the main thing is just pass it examples. It's gonna help, it's gonna tween the result based on your business use case. But how to know more things? Let's say you have been subjected with a task on multi-class classification. Now, I don't know like what is the best technique for prompting for it. So I can just Google it. Okay, prompting techniques for multi-class classification. So usually guys, I refer to this website. Okay, I usually refer to this website because the thing is that I don't like believe in reading a lot of things directly from the blogs and all. So it's okay. The thing is that I usually like reading research paper, so I tend to refer this website, R Arquake. I'm not sure how do they pronounce it, but the game is this is also very interesting website. I'll explain you. So now see, we propose automated multi-labeling prompting. So they have written some new method of prompting. Okay, this is from NYU. So now this is not there. You might not find a blog directly over there, but you can read about it from these type of research papers. Okay, you can see what type of examples they are giving. Okay, all those things will be done from here only. But usually, as I said, mostly chain of thought, tree of thought is the most level you would use. Mainly you need to pass it some examples so that it understands stuff. That's it. Rest, a lot of research is going on prompting techniques, but it would be very difficult to say this is the best prompting techniques. It's all circumstantial. So okay, just be aware that how to approach a problem statement. The way to approach a problem statement in prompting is that, hey, this is the task. I need to find some examples which will help my model understand the task, and retweak, change the prompt, and then only you would be able to get to the desired best result. Also guys, I'll show you one more thing also, that a lot of cloud providers, okay, a lot of cloud providers, they provide you something known as prompt gallery, let's say Azure. So let me open Azure. Okay, so let me show you one more thing. Let's say we are going in Azure, we are just trying to see an Azure OpenAI workspace. Let me open the studio. So few cloud providers or few big companies have written few prompt templates for you, so you can directly also use it. So I think I just need to see where it is. See, try out common examples, customer support agent, writing agent. So they have designed few use cases for you that you can directly use as well. Let's say you wanted some help with the summarization. Okay, now you can have a look on what is like the thing, what is the prompt they are using, and everything would be you would be able to do it. Okay, the main thing is that just give it few examples which is going to help you, which is going to help the LLM understand things better. So I'll conclude the lecture. The main thing is that, guys, see, there is a lot of buzz about prompt engineering. As an AI developer, I guess yes, it's a very essential skill you need to have, but there is no fixed route to it. The route to it is that yes, there are people who have summarized a lot of research. There's a research paper, and there might be some better research paper as well. I just found out this, so I'm sharing this with you. Also every year there will be many researches going on, so okay, that there are these many prompting techniques, people are experimenting with it, so maybe I can also experiment with it. It's an experimentative thing. The second thing is, every time whenever you are writing prompts, write it properly. Secondly, whenever you're writing prompts, try to give it few examples which are going to make the model understand on how to give the output, how to think. And whenever you are trying to basically give it an output, try to make sure that uh, force it to give an output in a particular way so that your ad hoc analysis becomes easy, because at times LLMs hallucinate and they tend to overthink a bit. So yeah, so mostly in few classes or so we'll develop a project. Right now we have talked about GitHub, we have talked about CI, we have talked about LLMs, I showed you a demo with LangChain, we have talked about prompt engineering. The practical for CD, continuous deployment using Azure, is left. So maybe we can try out creating a project that would integrate all these LLMs and the concepts of AI engineering so that you feel more confident. So thank you guys.